Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Thoughts. This is a continuing series of short videos that will focus on various topics related to mindfulness and meditation. As always, I would really like to hear your thoughts, so please comment below and subscribe to stay up to date on all of the new meditation videos and other content. Today's topic is making friends with your anxiety. Now, I know right away that sounds like a strange topic, and I'll explain what I mean. Anxiety, I think, is something that we all experience in a different way. And for me personally, it comes about as this sort of unwanted feeling that almost feels like it's coming from my core, like deep inside my chest. So it's sort of both a physical feeling, but also a mental feeling that's triggered by certain thoughts. And I think it's usually triggered by unconscious thoughts. And what I find is I will often experience symptoms of anxiety when my life gets a break. So, for example, I'm having a busy couple of days, and then I finally get to when I'm less busy. And as you're leading up to it, you're thinking, oh, great, I'm going to get this nice time to relax and have a little bit of a chance to catch up. But then, because our brains can be very unfair with us, once you have that moment to sort of get all of that busyness out of the way, then all that anxiety starts to flow in and it sort of fills in those spaces. So it seems very unfair because this was the time that I was anticipating to be relaxing, and now there's all this anxiety there. So maybe some of you can relate to those feelings, and our instinct is to run away from that. So the anxiety starts to come along, and we start to counter that in our minds by saying, oh no, I don't want this feeling. I'm going to sort of mentally run away from it. I'm going to try to push it away. I'm going to try to push it down. I don't like this. This is bad. It's a very natural instinct to have. And you might also think, I don't know where this is coming from, or you might not even recognize the deep down thoughts that are actually causing the anxiety. The problem with running from our anxiety is that it really works in a way that is opposite of what we might think. So in other words, when we get anxiety and we start to dislike it and try to run from it, it usually grows. And then, of course, it becomes a vicious cycle. The anxiety grows, and then we dislike it even more, and then we try to run from it even more. A lot of times, we are doing this whole process unconsciously. So it took me a long time to figure out, and a lot of meditation practice and books. But what I realized eventually is this idea of making friends with your anxiety. How to do that is to basically be able to jump on that moment that you sense the anxiety coming along. So you start to feel that anxiety well up inside of you, and initially, maybe you can't control that. So once you recognize that very early on, just right away say, there's my anxiety, and recognize it and acknowledge it. A phrase that comes to mind is, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And I think you could replace that concept of enemies with your anxiety, where if you can recognize it and you can understand it, that helps you to better live with it. And ultimately, it really can be decreased and overcome, at least in a much more effective way. So for me, I'm certainly not free of anxiety or symptoms of anxiety, but I've learned to acknowledge it early on, and oftentimes I can recognize it quickly enough that it is not especially bothersome, or it will go away much more quickly than if I were to try and fight it. So that is my topic today on making friends with your anxiety and using mindfulness to get there. Please share your comments if you have any to add to the conversation, And again, I very much appreciate if you subscribe and become a supporter on Patreon. All the information is below in the description. Thanks for listening to Mindful Peace Journey.